Metro Exodus is one of the finest games I've played in years, maybe ever. There are only very tiny bugs and that slightly hinder the experience, but other than that it's a marvelous game with astonishing visuals, characters and journey. Witcher 3 was and still is something that I consider one of the best game worlds in the mean of its realism and how everything works. Metro Exodus is at the same level at the very least. It's weird to say this, but the new Doom, which I loved and thought to be one of the best FPS games, has to step down for this, though they are so different from each other in the matter how they are played. Doom is a rocketeer asshole, move fast and destroy everything blast at its best, and I mean this literally. I'm actually wondering how the sequel is going to get better. There's such a ladder to climb for the sequel. But I'm not here to talk about Doom, I'm here to talk about Metro Exodus, which is a slow-paced cinematic entrance where time drags on as you take your breath in this hell of a world, trying to find some small things to enjoy, and boy are there a lot of small things for players to explore and enjoy. As I mentioned, the world seems so alive, well even after what you can accept after a nuclear war, that it's astonishing, and it's quite a bit to start and play this game in the literal sense. I can't imagine the game feeling so satisfying if you only get to play it in small parts, as some of the dialogue and sequences go on forever in a good way. So if you do not enjoy cutscenes or story, then this might not be for you. The game has no real UI or HUD, which once again helps it to feel so realistic. Although later in the game there was a section where you were driving in the snow, and let me just say, as a neighbor country of Russia from Finland, no fucking car will go through that kind of snow and slopes without pushing. The game progresses through seasons over the year, and every season has their own beautiful environments. These acts or chapters work for seasons, and places take place on semi-open worlds where you discover new people and might get side quests and such. These side quests aren't your typical run and get the milk, but they are always something that would hold value in real life. Was it literal value or sentimental, like a little child's toy? Because most of the toys are, after a nuclear war, they are just nightmare fuel. Game also hopes for player to explore quite a bit, but it isn't necessary. The game actually got me so invested that I took the role of my main character very seriously, and if I was given an important task which needed to be done with urgency, I didn't explore except if I was right near other places while making the road, or if I were low on resources that I would need to be able to finish the mission. The side missions aren't necessary, but what I think might influence the ending of the game. I actually got the good ending, by the way, on my walkthrough, and I will be playing the game again on harder difficulty and exploring every corner and of every stone, hose and tanker. There's quite a lot of weapons, which actually surprised me, though you can always carry only 2, which is a pain in the ass, and a certain bonus weapon. The weapon customization is one of the fanciest, as you can basically combine all the parts, and it's simple and efficient. Even on the road, by just putting your backpack down, there are frames for many weapons. But for example, what I mostly used was a revolver that basically one-shot everything, and it was very overpowered in my mind. But then again, the enemies have the same weapons, and they are as deadly on them as they are on you. So, but anyway, I combined my revolver with the sniper stock, AGOG 4 timing, zoom, laser sight and the sniper barrel. This made it so I can shoot from the hip with the laser pointer and have a solid sniper with me when I need one. Another weapons that I really liked were the basic assault rifles, and depending on the parts I often had a hollow sight or any parts that boosted damage and accuracy to save the ammunition, sometimes were limited. You are sure to find a weapon of your liking in this game, as all the weapons have the feeling that they actually hurt enemies when they hit. There's a real impact to the physics of the guns, and they hurt you also. And it's sometimes you die in this game basically instantly if you take 3 or 4 hits from an assault rifle. So be careful when wandering out there. There's some driving around in the game, as I mentioned, which is done well and again works perfectly with the world, using the gas mask, changing filters, swiping the mask, so you can see even some shit at points. I hate to repeat myself, but holy shit does it feel good to be kept on your toes most of the time. If you are on an area that might be dangerous, some of the mutants are so fucking annoying, but not in the wrong way. They are how unholy gods made them and just try to survive like you. Multiple different kind of peoples trying to survive in the world, slavers, religious nutcases, etc. All enemies feel grounded, though some might go down easier in one way or another. I even saw mutants fighting each other for food once at winter and just watched them while the smaller ones started to run away. I actually felt bad for them. I played this on PC and will in future play it on PS4 just to support the makers and because I want the physical copy for my console collection. There's quite a lot of controls and don't know how they're going to work on console. Few mutants are fast moving, that there is also probably a slight aim assist on console, which I'm not opposed against. I love playing on console. I have about 700 games just on Xbox and PlayStation 4. I know how console games can sometimes be, especially on the PS2 era, and I'm so glad that we have moved on to the current stage of gaming where console ports are often very well done, and I actually have no fears of how this is done. I just don't know how it's currently done. AI overall is well done and acts realistically in the manner that if they, for example, don't know where you are shooting the human enemies, they will all take cover, some in the manner that they just wait to be shot. After you shoot an enemy that is on the wrong side of the cover, their friends do acknowledge this and take proper cover. This gives you a great means to sneak around by making first noise and then starting to go around confusing them. Stealth mechanism is basic crouch and press the button to kill. Nothing fancy and nothing horrible, works fine. Enemies are quite aware of their surroundings and noises, so this stealth can be difficult, but not too difficult if you have just a little bit patience. Enemies have tendency to give up if they feel losing their morale. They just give up and beg for mercy. Mutants act as you'd imagine a pack hunting. Pack hunting, you will start to scatter after most of them have been killed. Few times I had this very annoying bug that I couldn't recharge my flashlight. This bug is linked to the car's light, and both times this happened, it was in a pitch black act where I had to go underground, so I tried and managed with just the lighter without flashlight instead of starting the act again. This was rather hard to enemies that would have been killed by the light, so flashlight would seriously have helped because the lighter's range is so limited. But I managed to survive and I feel pretty good about it. By now, many of you know that this game supports ray tracing rendering, which causes the lights to behave in natural physical way. This is a huge deal as I worked for years in 3D modeling, and ray tracing is very heavy rendering method for realistic rendering, and I have been waiting the day when something like DirectX or OpenGL starts to use this. Overall, the graphics are one of the best I've seen. Even the ray tracing turned off, the lighting is phenomenal. The game engine also runs pretty well without any larger drops on FPS. Even on older machine, you are sure to be able to run the game on lower settings. Everything in the environment and models are just so perfect, but sometimes very close-up faces of the characters look a bit weird. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it was almost as if they were a bit blurry and popped out from the environment because of this. I had motion blur, of course, turned off, like any sensible person does, because it's bullshit and just like that's so unrealistic effect and looks horrible in my mind. Audio score is also sensational, as the music is not used too often and desolate places on surround headphones that block real life voices is astonishing. Wind howling through the hollow buildings is very hauntingly beautiful. I have no other choice but to give this game a 10 out of 10, because the bugs that I encountered are sure to be fixed very fast, if they even happen on other people, and they were nowhere near game breaking. Somehow maybe even gave me a more realistic experience, because the electrical equipment now and then stops working. Just imagine after a nuclear war how often they stop working there. But the game was just simply astonishing, and it kind of makes me sad that it's over, in the same way that any good game, when it's over and you have all these connections to the other characters and just want to be their friend and hear about them, and then it's just over. So it's so good that it makes you sad.